Hi, welcome to this new treasureit webinar. So today we're going to be talking about securing valuable business data and the place of email encryption in the new normal. So before we get going, I just want to introduce myself and my co-host for today, Norbert. And for that, I'm going to have to change slides. I'm Olivia, and I lead the product marketing team at treasureit, which means that my focus is connecting the dots between the products we build and our customers. So making sure that we develop solutions that meet real life needs. And Norbert, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am Norbert, the product manager at treasureit, responsible for our new email encryption product. And in the past month, we spent a lot of time on understanding what makes a great email encryption software, and I'm here to share our findings with you.
Thank you, thank you. Now that that's done, we are going to dive in. Some housekeeping just before we do get going. There is a Q&A button somewhere down there where you can share your questions as we go through. You can even do so anonymously, and we will take these questions at the end of this webinar. So let's get going. We are here because we believe that data privacy is a human right. So treasureit's mission is to empower everyone to take back control of their digital valuables. And at the core of what treasureit does is best-in-class end-to-end encryption technology. So as you can imagine, we think about data privacy a lot. And we speak to a lot of customers, prospects, and businesses of all sort of shapes and sizes. And it's come to our attention that there are some clear patterns when it comes to the main challenges we're all facing in keeping confidential data secure. These are finding an easy way to share sensitive data, both internally and externally, especially when it comes to sort of large files or big bundles of data. Finding a way to make sure end users are choosing the right security settings to avoid human error is a big challenge, as well as keeping your business's reputation intact and increasing trust and making sure you're protected in the event of a data breach. We're hearing from a lot of people that there's a trend in trying to avoid giving too much access to that sensitive data to sort of mainstream, bigger internet service providers. We also know there's increasingly strict data protection regulations and company policies that people in businesses are trying to meet. And also at the sort of center of all of this challenge is overall the concept of protecting, monitoring, and governing that data with a system that at the same time will facilitate reporting when it comes to audits. We mentioned in the title of this webinar, the new normal, and in this post-pandemic age, we're also increasingly working in hybrid remote settings on the go, and keeping this environment secure is also a challenge. So not only are these main challenges coming up time and time again, we've also identified some key blockers that are preventing businesses from effectively solving these challenges. So for example, the experience being too clunky when it comes to collaborating securely with partners, collaborators, even employees within your company. If it's too different to sort of the user friendliness that they're used to in the apps that they use in their personal lives, it becomes a bit of a challenge, which leads to shadow IT solutions. And when everybody starts using a workaround, a lack of homogeneity across the business. When there's too many security settings to choose from, maybe coupled with a lack of education, this is when we see the biggest risk for human error. And classifying data based on the level of confidentiality, can be hard as well when you're in the middle of your day-to-day activity, of your workflows, especially in sort of less heavily regulated industries where maybe that concept is not front of mind every day. And maybe, just maybe, there's sort of legacy solutions in the background that are imperfect, but that were costly to implement, and it's a bit daunting to think about moving over to something else. So we've gone through a number of challenges here, and I'd like you to take a minute and just think about what proportion of the challenges I've mentioned you're actually seeing in your day-to-day. So if you haven't already, you will have a question pop up, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. While we do this, Norbert and I can just enjoy a sip of water, bear with. Okay, the results are still coming in. Fantastic. Ooh, the polls are still moving. The jury is still out. The results are interesting because it's really showing that the majority of you are seeing at least half of the items that I mentioned as being a challenge that you're faced with. I'm adding this up to on my screen to about sort of like 55% or so. So this is quite interesting. Thank you for participating in this poll, snap poll. So I now want to move more into highlighting how email encryption can be central in securing confidential business data. And for this, I'm going to hand over to Norbert, if I can.
Thank you, Olivia. So as Olivia shared, what are the challenges? I will discuss the solution that can help tackle them. I am going to walk you through on what we consider as the key pillars of a best-in-class email encryption solution. The most important value of an email encryption solution is that it can provide an effective protection for confidential business data. It means to protect the data that needs protection and with the right level of security, while communicating in emails, either internally or with external stakeholders, partners, or clients. But what makes a solution capable of delivering this value? We identified 4 pillars that are crucial. Number 1 is human-first approach, to focus on solving the user's challenges while helping them achieve their goals or to do their work without disruption. In our context, users are business users and of course IT administrators as well. Next is effortless but secure recipient experience. The ultimate goal of emailing to a partner is to share information. If they cannot receive or access it for no matter what reason, the value is not delivered. The third pillar is seamless integration into existing workflows. A familiar environment is helping a lot to quickly adopt a new solution while keeping the learning efforts and the required IT and support resources minimal. And the last one is end-to-end encryption and data control. This is the core of the solution that has to be flexible enough to fulfill the security and the regulatory requirements of the companies using it. We think that all of these pillars are equally important and should work together to deliver a flawless value experience. Let's dive deeper into each. Human-first approach. In a lot of cases, adding a security layer to a solution is adding more complexity and steps to a process. It slows down work and increases tension in the user, which eventually results in lowered morale and workarounds. No need to say that this has a negative impact on the employees and the company as well, resulting in vulnerabilities in the data protection strategy. To avoid this situation, the solution has to put users into focus. It has to support business users and administrators to do their job even better by removing obstacles and minimizing additional complexity. The primary goal of an email encryption solution should be to make sending encrypted emails as easy as regular emails, as that is something that everyone is familiar with. Another important aspect in being human first is to accept that people make mistakes. Therefore, the solution has to enable the users to fix their mistakes quickly and effectively on their own and when they realize it happened. The next pillar is effortless but secure recipient experience. Reading an encrypted email usually involves some additional steps compared to regular emails. For example, validating your email, providing a password, or registering or logging into a new account. The aim is to minimize the effort required by these additional steps. Complexity of accessing the encrypted content depends on a lot of factors, like the direction of the communication, which can be internal or external, the level of security required by the type of the data, or the industry you are working in. Making internal encrypted emailing effortless is the easier task, as we can control the IT environment of the users. Therefore, here the real challenge is when an external recipient receives an encrypted email. We have to make sure that the recipients understand that the email came from a trusted source, and using your own branding and adding personal messages can help achieve this. I already touched our minimal efforts to access approach. For this, a great solution can be to use existing accounts to read the email content, as it can make it secure and seamless at the same time. Customizable access controls can help administrators set the required level of security that is aligned with the sensitivity of the data. And last but not least, the content should be accessible on all platforms, regardless of the device, operating system, email provider, or anything else. Just one back. Okay, the third one is seamless integration into existing workflows. Implementing a new layer of security to business emailing should be a matter of hours, not months. The IT landscape of companies vary a lot, so there is no single quick solution that fits all. But regardless, it should be a critical focus area for providers to minimize the time to value for their customers. The following aspects are important to consider. Existing email providers should be upgraded with new security features, so there is no need to switch provider. Simple implementation and rollout results in saving IT capacity and time. Familiar environment and great user experience enables steep learning curve and saves internal support capacity. And one of the most important is that there is no dependency on the partners. There is no need to configure the solution on their side. It should just work. Yes. And the fourth one is end-to-end encryption and data control. At the core of any security product are the features that enable the protection of the data. End-to-end encryption ensures that only you and the recipient can access the email and the sensitive information. Maintaining control over the data throughout the whole life cycle is very important, and is a significant distinction compared to regular emails. To know when you need to act, you also need visibility on the activities on the data. Who accessed it, who tried to access it, and when. And of course, you need to be in full control of where the data is stored to make sure you comply with the regulations. As I shared what we consider as key factors of the best email encryption solution, now I'm interested on what do you think, and do you agree with us? Please share which one do you consider as the most important factor for your organization in an email encryption solution. Please answer the poll so that we can learn from you. While you are answering, I'll just reiterate on these. So human-first approach is focusing on users. Effortless but secure recipient experience is focusing on the receiver side, mainly external partners and clients. Seamless integration into existing workflows is aiming for quick rollout and the short time to value. And end-to-end encryption and data control is the core of the security solution. Results are already coming in. Great, really interesting. It's still moving. Okay, it's like 30% things that effortless but secure recipient experience is important. Then a little below 30% are seamless integration into existing workflows and end-to-end encryption and data control. Great. And human-first approach came in fourth. Great. Thank you very much for the information and for your input. And now I'm handing back to Olivia to tell you more about why is now the right time to act.
Thank you, Norbert. Apologies, I am dealing with very jumpy slides today, but I will do my best. They have a life of their own. Okay, so you've heard a lot about challenges and you've heard a lot about how email encryption can be one major solution when it comes to securing confidential business information and exchanges. But you're probably thinking, do I need to do anything about this right now? And maybe just listening to us has given you a little bit of a headache. Well, the statistics that we found in recent reports have shown that even in the age of Slack, Skype, Teams, instant messaging, email is still the preferred communication channel. We still use emails a lot. In fact, the use of emails rose in 80% of companies over the period of the pandemic. Not only that, but 8 out of 10 respondents think that their company is increasingly at risk of data leaks due to human error. So what this picture paints is businesses that are left even more vulnerable to email-based security threats. So essentially, you can save yourself a much bigger headache long-term by putting efficient, effective systems in place today before you're faced with your first accidental or otherwise data leak. So we actually have clients in some of the most highly regulated industries entrusting us with their most sensitive business data. That includes the banking, financial sector, legal firms, healthcare and research institutions. And these are customers that are handling very sensitive PII, PHI, R&D, or even sort of intellectual property types of data. And why do they choose us? Well, we always consider two things at the core of everything that we do at treasureit. And one is that we build to the highest possible security standard. And this is why we're particularly proud of some of the certifications that I've put up here on the screens for you to see. But the second aspect is also the user friendliness, because without the ease of use, it won't work. There's no adoption. So we're also particularly proud of all of the distinctions and accolades that we've received, recognizing our efforts in that field. So you've been very patient with us so far, and you've listened to what we have to say. But now we would love to start a little discussion and hear from you. So please share your questions in the Q&A, even anonymously. And we will take about sort of 20 seconds and start answering some of these questions.
Yes, in the meantime, there are some really practical questions already, like you can send the questions in Q&A or chat as well. We can see both, so we are checking both as well. And also there is a question if this recording is going to be available to us later. Yeah, absolutely. I think yes, we will share it.
If you've enjoyed the show so much, we'd love you to rewatch it. Okay, I'm gonna wait maybe another couple of seconds, and then we can start addressing some of these questions. Okay.
There are plenty.
So I'm going to start, and I am going to start with one which is, what do we mean by large files? And there are some files that are too large, for example, files of backup software. What we mean by large files is that with the link, the end-to-end encrypted link system, it actually doesn't matter. I think Nobi is more technical. Maybe you have know about the exact limits, but you should be able to share even large bundles of data.
Yeah, usually it's around 5 GB with the link feature, and this is not a limitation on our side, but on the browser side usually. And currently this is the large file. What we can handle to link sharing and to our email encryption solution as well. But of course, with the treasureit core product, you can like store even larger files in the cloud. But there is a size limit there as well, I think, and it's depending on your package as well.
Thank you, Norbert.
Okay, I'll take the next. We got some questions in the chat as well. Is this solution doing the same as providers like Komodo? Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with Komodo, but I will definitely check and maybe get back to you later on this topic, if this is similar or not.
Thank you. We've received a couple of questions around whether does it work with non-treasureit recipients. So I believe here we're talking about treasureit's email encryption solution specifically. There's a few questions around this, so I really want to address it. And short but sweet from my side, it absolutely does work. And this is central to how we wanted to create this solution. No matter what email provider the recipient is using, they will be able to receive your encrypted email with, similar to when you share a file with Treasureit, with a link, an encrypted link that opens in the browser once they've verified their identity. Norbert, is there anything that you want, you are the person behind this beautiful product, is there anything you want to add to this aspect?
No, I think it was absolutely correct. Yeah, so receiving, for receiving emails, there is no need to have a Treasureit account. Of course, as I already mentioned, that the best experience can be achieved if the receiver part has Treasureit account as well. But we are really trying to focus on that approach or that aspect when the receiving is an external partner, not having the Treasureit account, and trying to improve their experience as good and as quick as possible while maintaining, of course, the security part of this. Yeah, there are a few questions around availability on the Mac and Outlook for Mac, for example. So I'll take this and discuss this topic a little bit. So we are now currently available on Outlook for Windows, but we are already started working on other platforms, and yeah, in a couple of months we will release new platforms as well. And yeah, we hear you, Mac users, and we will definitely focusing on these. So it will be available on Mac as well.
And we've also got a question through asking whether the recipient needs to create a password to receive the email, like a traditional secure email protocol. And the answer to that is no. They need to verify their identity, their email address, but if they can verify that they're the email address owner to who the email was sent, then they will be able to decrypt the message. I'm conscious that we have a couple of minutes left, so we're just going to take a couple more questions. And there's one here about what more generally around what our top tips are when it comes to educating more end users about making the right security choices. And here, I think there are a certain number of aspects that we find important, and a lot of them we've actually sort of touched on in this webinar. One is we think the solution should be user-friendly enough and intuitive enough in the first place, so that users can get to grips with it easily and autonomously. And general sort of security education and info security hygiene is a big piece of IT leadership's work. But we think that businesses should look at solutions that also give IT admins a powerful set of tools that will minimize the effort or help them take away some decision making from end users without creating too much extra work for the IT teams. And something else that I could add probably to this topic is it should really, something that Treasureit is really concerned with, it should really integrate seamlessly into existing workflows, because I think you'll all know, the more steps you add, the more unlikely it is that end users will follow suit. So this this is something that I would add to that as well.
Yeah,
there are a couple more questions. Do you want to take?
Yeah, there are so many questions. I'm just trying to find. So thank you for asking so many questions. This is really good for us. I'll try to answer one more. So how can a recipient reply on an end-to-end encrypted email? So basically, the recipient, if they are not treasureit users, they can reply through a web browser, which is again end-to-end encrypted, and the reply will be end-to-end encrypted as well. If they are treasureit users, they can directly reply from their Outlook, and this is similar or very similar experience to a normal emailing.
Thank you, Norbert. And we are at time, but we also had a question around demoing the solution now. We would love to do that, but we're going to be short on time. So please look out for a follow-up email from us, and you will have details about how you can access a demo of the solution and how you can trial it right now. And we hope that all of you will give it a go and let us know your feedback. So with that in mind, before we wrap up, I just want to let you know about the next webinar in our upcoming in our monthly series. It's going to be a special one because it's hosted in cooperation with Threema, a Swiss end-to-end encrypted instant messaging app. We would encourage you to join this webinar to find out about how bringing end-to-end encryption to all of our new work communication channels, from emailing to instant messaging, file sharing, can minimize the risk of data leaks. Norbert, do you want to have the closing remarks?
Yes, of course. Thank you. So I just want to say thank you for your time and participations, and you being very active in asking questions. This means a lot to us. Yeah, and if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us via email and follow treasureit on LinkedIn or Twitter. And yeah, we look forward to see you in our next webinars. And have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much.
You take care. Goodbye.